Hello, everyone. We are welcome to the 13th class out of 16 classes for this free course on data analytics, introduction to SQL and Python. We've covered a lot already, both theoretically and practically. And then today we'll be wrapping up on SQL, looking at very complex scripts in SQL, understanding them, how to read them and how to possibly write them. Then we'll also be looking at stored procedures, a way of writing functions in SQL, and wrapping up with starting off for Python class by doing the Python installation. So it's a loaded class, and we're going to run fast with it so we can cover as much as we need to cover. So I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm just going to do a few explanations before we go into the demo. So I have a slide, I have my slide here, just some brief explanation on what we should expect so that when we go into the demo, we would understand all that we're doing. Okay, yeah, I believe you can see my screen. So this is what we'll be talking on today. And we are going to be using an already existing database known as AdventureWorks DB. It's quite robust and mimics real life data. Microsoft actually has these sample databases online for people to be able to use to practice and understand structured DBs. So I'm going to show us how to get one of such database. We're going to download and restore that database on our management server, on our database management server. Right. So then we are going to be using this robust database to read and write some complex SQL scripts. We are going to write some of those scripts ourselves. Then we are also going to just download some online because of time and try to read and understand them. Then we'll look at SQL stored procedures, and of course we need to get on quickly to Python because we have very few classes left. But you see we have spent a lot of time on SQL because of the importance of the knowledge of SQL. So these are a brief outline and just a quick introduction. AdventureWorks DB is very robust and it's available freely online. Yeah, so you can use that. We'll be using it to practice complex SQL statements that will contain various functions, clauses, operators that we have learned in the previous classes. Right, so to download the AdventureWorks DB, I'm going to paste the link for the download in our chat area, but also you can just, for those watching online, you can just search on Google for AdventureWorks database back file download, and then you will have that available. So oops, let me quickly paste that in our chat area. Oops. Okay, I have to stop share. Okay, I'm about pasting that in our chat area. Please hold on a little for me. Okay, yeah. Oops, why is it broken? Hold on. Let me get that from the website straight. Okay, so please use this last link I just sent. The previous links were broken. Click on this link and please download AdventureWorks DB. I'm going to show you a similar screen that would display on your website. You need to click on the link and download the database. Aside AdventureWorks databases, there are also some other databases that similar to AdventureWorks that Microsoft has for public use. Another one is NotWind database, but for this training, we'll be using AdventureWorks database. So, okay, right. Before I share my screen, I'm going to share one more link with us. And you can go to that link as well to download the schema, the diagram schema for AdventureWorks DB. Okay, I'm just going to share it. I have it downloaded. Okay, yeah. So let's continue with our slide. I'm going to go back now to sharing my screen. And okay, so while I'm speaking on the slide, please ensure you download the database back file and the PDF file containing the diagram schema for AdventureWorks that I just sent to you. Okay, so you have link now, and this is what you would see on that web page. You see something similar to what I have on my screen. This is just a snipe of that web page. So please scroll down a little and under OLTP column, click on AdventureWorks 2019.back and download. The download should take roughly like 2 minutes. It's about 200 or so MB. Right. So with this, remember I showed you how to create backup files. So this is just a backup file of a database that Microsoft has owns and they've made public, right? So we are going to download this backup file, and then we're also going to restore the backup file in our database management server. If you, of course, remember how to do that, as we've done that in our previous class, you can go ahead to restore the database now. Yeah, so to restore the database, you simply log on to your database management studio, connect to your database server, then right click on database, like you can see, then click on restore database. Once you do that, it will open up this window for you. So in that window, choose restore database from device. Restore from device. Okay, yeah, before you get to this point, when you download the back file, it will be downloaded into your downloads folder. I will advise that you copy it from that downloads folder into a location, maybe in your C drive or your D drive, as the case might be, right? Because when you want to find the backup file from here, it will be easier for you to find it in any of those drive I just mentioned, instead of you looking for it in your downloads folder. If you need to find it from your downloads folder, then it will take you going through the C drive, users files, downloads, which is a long way to find it from the file explorer. So click on device, then click on this triple dot picture here. This will open file explorer for you, and then you can pick your back file. So once you pick your back file, it will show up here, and then you can say okay. So once this is done, your AdventureWorks database would be added into the list of your databases, like you can see on the screen. And of course, you can expand on the tables to see all the tables in it. And this is a sample of a script that is running on AdventureWorks DB. I'm going to go into the demo, then we are going to write scripts based on AdventureWorks DB, and as well read more complex scripts. Yeah, I just want us to understand the concept of scripts and be able to, because when you are in a client environment, when you are in an organization environment, they are going to have many tables and existing scripts they use in understanding or retrieving data from the table. So for you to know the kind of processes, the kind of workflows that go on with their data, you need to be able to understand the existing scripts. Okay, right. So before we go into the demo, let's also touch on what we call stored procedures in SQL. So we're going to have the demo combined. Watch out for the demo in the next video. Okay, right. So what are stored procedures? Stored procedures are SQL statements. So they are made up of maybe one or multiple SQL statements that can be used over and over again. So remember, when we write our scripts, we normally write it in a query file, and we have to save the query file anytime we want to get similar information or similar data again. We go back to that query file and run the script again. Now, instead of opening file, running script again and again, you can simply embed your script, your SQL statement, into what we call a procedure. So a procedure looks like an executable function, or something that is reusable. We can say maybe like a library, right? But I'm just trying to use similar terminology in the concept of software or algorithm development. But stored procedures simply make your SQL statements reusable. And the syntax for a stored procedure is simply create procedure, then you give it a procedural name, then as whatever SQL statement, be it a simple SQL statement or even complex SQL statement, can be embedded in a stored procedure. So you say create procedure as the SQL statement, then go. Go means to create this procedure, to execute this line of statements. So now to call back that procedure and execute it at a later time, you simply use the exec command. So exec, then the procedure name you are given earlier. So once you do this, the same procedure would be executed. We're going to do a demo of this, so don't worry. You are going to see how this works. Then this is just an example. You can see that this is a simple procedural statement that simply executes a select information. So you can use it for any of the SQL type of statements, SQL type of statement, be it select, update, delete, drop, whatever. You can embed them in your procedure script. Yeah, so you can also have stored procedures with parameters. So parameters makes it much more dynamic in the sense that at every time at various instances that you're executing an SQL script, you can change values for which the script will be executed. For instance, imagine if your SQL script contains conditions to say, okay, select all the records in a particular table where there's a condition. So I can use my parameters to be changing my conditions at various times, at various instances whenever I'm executing the procedure. This concept of procedures and parameters also makes it easy for application softwares to be able to connect to databases and perform functions that are related to what would be dynamic, right? So this helps to work with dynamic applications. So for instance, let's say you are doing a search, or if you're retrieving records based on certain conditions, that condition of course would be dynamic at different times. So the software is um, is connected to the DB and executing these procedures to perform different actions. So that's the concept of stored procedures, which is also a major concept in SQL understanding for data analytics. We're going to show the examples of these various functions in our next demo session. Thank you for listening. Let's go into the demo now. See you in the demo session. Bye.